welcome to Britta's Always Crafting. It is another Flosstube episode. Today when I am filming this is June 2nd, 2026. And for those who are new, my name is Britta Daczyk. My pronouns are she and her, and I love all the things. I love all the crafting. If you are a returning viewer, welcome back. I'm so glad to see you. Please let me know in the comments below what you've been working on lately, and if you're working on any of the same things as me. And also, any pride stitches you're doing for this month, because I know you out there. You're doing pride stitches. I have a jam-packed episode for you today. It has only been a month and a couple days, but I have a lot of fully finishes, which is wild, but apparently is not out of the norm for me now. So I have 5 fully finishes. I'll show you 4 of those, and then a 5th one will be a start and fully finished object, which is awesome. And then I have one new start, one other new start, and a couple of whips in there. Welcome, happy Pride Month, everybody. I will do a life update towards the end of the thing, but nothing's really going on except for like regular life stuff. Love that for me. Love that for me. I want to thank you for your response to my last video. So many very kind comments and just so many thoughtful comments. It's really nice. I'm trying to get better about leaving comments on people's videos because I realized, oh my gosh, it means so much to me that somebody watched my video and actually took the time to comment, especially when I look at my YouTube stats and like 60% of people are watching these YouTubes on their TV. So as a fellow TV watcher / Xbox watcher, I know how difficult it is to actually you gotta pull out your phone and leave a comment. It's been a busy month. I got barely over 10,000 stitches for the month, and that's for a couple of reasons. I spent a lot of time ripping out stitches, which you'll find out more about in my whips section, and I've also done a lot of finishing. So let's jump into the finishes. First, I will start with some smalls. These were just languishing on my dining room table, and it's time to clean off the table. So the first one I have is Lavender Fields Bookmark by Susan Penny. I finished this on June 20th, 2025. It's actually not designed as a bookmark. It's written as kind of like a triptych pattern, but I thought this would be perfect for a bookmark. So here's the finish. This is 32 count linen, I'm pretty sure. DMC 2/2. I got this as like a mystery scrap, so I don't know what brand or what the color actually is, but it's very pretty. Really great, solid scrap. And what I did to finish it was I just sewed a tube, and then I flat pressed that seam, turned it inside out, and then sewed across the top and the bottom so that it created an even border. And then I took off the end parts at the top and bottom. If you wanted to get really into it, you could take it all the way to the line here. I got like halfway done and I was like, you know what? I think this is good. Like if I ever want to take out more, I can do that, but the seam does start to get like kind of doubly in the back. So I just wanted to do, it's like kind of a rug finish almost. So that's cute. It's a little bit floppy. If I was to do this again, I would use stiffer interfacing for this, but I think this way of finishing a bookmark, just it ties all the ends together and it looks good. I would feel okay about giving this to somebody as a gift. I have another small one for you. It's been a finished object before. This is Keepsakes Book 1, the Alphabet Sampler from Sue Hillis Designs. I started this one October 18th, 2025 and finished this on February 18th of this year. And I made it into a pillow. Very cute. This is my first pillow ever, and it was most definitely my first time ever using this pom-pom trim and sandwiching it in. Only afterwards did I remember the Helen D trick where you can use that like sewing tape to get it in there and then still sew over it. So I'll do that next time. But this is passable. Like as you can see here, it just sticks out a little bit much on this side, and there are some places like over here where it gets really close. But I'm actually so excited that I got this done, and it looks like good. It looks good, especially for my first try. And I am constantly in a battle to try to let go of a little bit of my perfectionism. So I asked myself, what is good enough? And this is good enough for me? Can I still look at it and enjoy it? I did a color conversion on this to teals and blues and greens, and it's just stunning. And I got really lucky because my teal threads did not show through. I tried not to travel more than like 2 stitches with them, but I got really lucky that they didn't show through. I put a piece of interfacing on this and then I filled it with just polyfill. I didn't really think this needed specific weight. It will probably just sit up on my mantle or wherever it ends up. My third finish is also a previous finish. I believe I showed you this last time as a finish, and I found a frame for it. I went into Michael's to pick up some DMC, and they were clearancing out their older frames. So I went up and snagged this frame for $10 and 4 more frames. I mean, for $10, $5, $7, you really can't beat it if it's the right size. And this one happened to be an 8x10 that had a 1-inch mat around it. So it just happened to fit this piece. This is Extraordinary Birds. So I got the glass in, which is great. It looks stunning. And I think this might be hanging up in my bedroom going forward, but right now it's just sitting on our mantle until I figure out what to do with it. This is beautiful. This is by Lola Crow. It's on 20 count Aida that I RIT-dyed myself. I finished it on March 1st, 2026. And I mean, stunning. Isn't she stunning? I will be entering this into the state fair this year, I think. I just want to try. And I'll enter stuff into the categories that I think are appropriate. And so maybe I'll get a piece accepted or two. That would be really cool. I love stitching this so much. This is a really great pattern. So I'm planning on starting her garden stitch along, which is from 2024. So if you are interested in starting that with me, please let me know, just for fun. It's more fun when you start with somebody else. So I might as well start getting the fabric ready. But yeah, here's Extraordinary Birds. I am so thrilled that this is done. And if the material of a Lola Crow stitch along speaks to you, you should do it. If the prehistoric like museum thing speaks to you, join her stitch along. They're so cool. This one just didn't speak to me and I really want to do the garden one. I have another fully finished object for you. This one was only a work in progress last time you saw it, and I'm so thrilled that it's done. I just crushed this. This is Russian Blue by Riolis. It's kit 764. It's not actually called Russian Blue. I'm just calling it that. And it looks a lot like my cat Leia. So this is Leia. She is still kicking. We have kind of just decided that she refound her will to live because she's like a completely different cat now that she has steroids. We switched her food completely. So she's going to be with us for a little bit longer. I mean, hopefully we'll get a long time longer, but at least a little bit longer. And she's just living her best life right now. Just seeing her so happy and moving about and, you know, giving herself a bath. It just warms my heart, and I really know that like we're on the right track here. So this is what it looks like fully finished. Oh my gosh. So this one doesn't have the glass in it, but I will try my new point driver in on the sides. I think it might work, and if it doesn't work, it'll just kind of like mess up the back of the frame. So this would probably be a good time to try it because I don't really trust the wool out in the open. Look, she's so stunning. I switched out this green color at the top of the eyes for a DMC floss, and I used 4 strands of it here. I made a couple of mistakes here where I actually started the whole thing in 2 strands when it was supposed to be 3 strands, and I do think it would look a little bit nicer if it was 3 strands, but I was not going back because it didn't look bad. I also changed the jawline over here. I kind of extended it out further. The pattern itself had this shadow really far in, and so it made the face look really skinny, and that's just not Leia. And instead of doing black for some of the whiskers, as was called for, I just went for gray with all of them, figuring if they kind of blend in, that's fine. They do blend in real life. And I definitely didn't want to go with white. I love how this turned out. I didn't super enjoy working on the Riolis kit because it has that wool fiber. It just wasn't super, like, I didn't like the textural experience of it, which is fair. That's very common in my life for me to not like the texture of something because I have a spicy brain. But I love how this turned out. I couldn't really figure out a place to put my initials, so I just am going to put something on the back of this. I already wrote in pencil on the back of the mat board and signed it so that somebody will know in the future who made it. This is a beautiful piece to our Princess Leia. We'll hang it up in our living room now. We have kind of a wall that has pet portraits and things of that nature, and we'll get to enjoy it before it becomes sad. And also, I finished it before it became sad. So go me, I'm so happy. This is another frame from Joann's, and I just thought it looked nice. We're gonna go straight into starts here. We have my start to fully finish, and this is Moonlight Cove by Pigeon Coop Designs, Max Pigeon. I picked this out for two reasons. One, the month of May was Stitching with Charlie's birthday saw, Whale LO there, where she encouraged everyone to stitch on a whale. I love whales, so why not? I wanted to join in. And the second reason is this, to me, looks like my Alaska trip that we took 3 years ago. So here is the finish. I'm so excited that Charlie had this stitch along because it really inspired me to start this when I hadn't even picked out the pattern yet. I've always enjoyed Pigeon Coop Designs, but this is my first time stitching anything from him. And the use of negative space, it's not lost on me that I didn't actually stitch a whale. I kind of stitched the space around a whale, but Charlie said it still counts, so. But it's so beautiful. I used the call for colors. It's just 4 colors, which it looks like way more when you look at it here. And this is probably the best representation I have gotten of this fabric. For some reason, when you take a picture of it under artificial lights, it gets super washed out and looks like a deep plum with some yellow in it. It's super weird. But this is Gothic 28 count Lugana. This fabric was actually past the stash from Shari Moss. She has a Flosstube if you want to go check her out. I know her from the paper crafting world. She's super awesome, and she's not stitching on Lugana anymore. We're going to see each other in person. She asked if I wanted some, and so I said, yeah, send it over. I will try stitching with this, and she had some such fun colors. I couldn't resist, so you'll be seeing a little bit more Lugana from me in the 24 and 32 count. It's a different experience because I've only been working on linen and Aida. This is Picture This plus Gothic, which is stunning, by the way, and I still have some more for another project. The weave is very tight, as I've heard is normal with Picture This Plus. I really liked that because I didn't have to worry about anything showing through in this final product, but it made it harder to stitch on, not because I was splitting the fibers, but because it was just kind of harder to find the holes. This is finished on a Michaels like blank board thing. This is just thin and MDF, and you see it has beads. It came like this, except I stained it with some gel stain. I don't know if I would recommend gel stain. It was my first time using it, and I got it because it was water-based, so easier to clean up and probably less noxious fumes. But I didn't really like the performance of it going on. This is like 4 coats, and every single coat you put on activated the layer underneath it. So if you wiped too hard after you had just gone over the area, it would wipe everything away. But I wanted to try something new because in worst case, especially with stains, you can just paint over them. So I kind of had the idea to do like a darker stain on this side and a lighter stain on this side, and then be able to flip every other one. So like it would be dark, light, or all the same color. I thought that would be really awesome, but I just couldn't get the stain to look right unless it was super dark. So I might try painting the other side, or maybe just painting the outside and inside, maybe my like typical blue color. But for now, it is done, and I love that. I started this on May 3rd, and I finished it on May 29th, all in this year, all in 1 month, and I fully finished it this morning. I did do magnets on this, so, oh gosh, this is my first time pulling it off. So I put 2 magnets here so that this can orient itself. I put 2 magnets on top of these, added the glue, and then put this down on top of it. And I just drew my own template for this and cut the foam board and stuff. And I did several layers of batting. So you can see on the side it has some cushion to it because I thought that this was getting a little bit close on the edges, and I wanted, you know, if it's going to get close to the edge, might as well add some batting so that it has more dimension, right? This is designed to go in a somewhat standard oval embroidery hoop, the kind with like the rubber around the edges. My store didn't have any in stock, and I already had this in my stash, so it was theoretically free. I did also stain the beads on this. They didn't take the stain as well, and I stained the twine as well that's holding it together, the jute. That part doesn't look great, but we don't need to look at that part right now. I can always redo it later if it starts bothering me. Like I kind of said before, this is good enough, and it is finished, and I love it. Happy birthday, Charlie. So my second start for you that I have is this. This is Stitch for Pride 2024. It is a variety of queer artists and kind of an interpretation of their work, one for each month of the year. And I wanted to start it for Pride this year. Eli from Thick Threads, who'll be linked below too, he wanted to start some of this pattern too. So it sounds like he's going to do a small or something. If you want to stitch any of the previous Stitch for Pride patterns or like little motifs that are available right now, and I assume the Stitch for Prides will probably be available this month from Dees 20 Stitches, please join us and tag us on Instagram so that we can enjoy too. I did a center start, and this is 189 stitches, and I did this yesterday. I'm using this very heavily variegated floss called Lapis Lazuli from the 2025 Stitch for Pride. I love this color, and it's like the closest to like bisexual pride that I have. So I wanted it right in the middle, like really just nail it home. Put as much queerness into this as possible. And then each motif will have a different color. I originally was inspired by the Progress Pride flag. So I have brown, I have black, I have the trans flag colors, except for white. I don't think it'll show up on this fabric very well. Here's kind of what I'm thinking for the placement of these colors. And here's a little mock-up of what those colors will kind of look like. We'll just kind of see as I go. Like, I feel like this yellow that I got will show up really well, but on the other hand, maybe it won't, and I'll have to swap out for something else. So we'll just go and we'll change if we need it. This fabric is Pearl 18 count Aida from Mystic Fabrics. It has a little bit of texture to it. It's not a solid, but it's pretty darn close to a solid. And I wanted the thread to stand out. I was holding it sideways. I wanted the thread to really stand out. I can bring this with me when we have our little weekend trips this summer. My fourth new start, which is wild to me. So many starts, right? But at least I'm finishing stuff. I do plan to have probably 3 or 4 more starts this month, but that might extend out into the rest of the summer. It just kind of seems like June is jam-packed full of stuff. So my next one is a pattern that I designed myself. It is a fan art. It's fan art of fan art. My sister-in-law sent me this pin on Pinterest, and I can't track down the original Instagram, but I know what the original Instagram is. I'll put all that information below in the description. And this pattern is not out on my Ko-Fi yet, but feel free to go to my Ko-Fi and follow me if you'd like to get an email notification when I do put out this pattern. It's art inspired by art, and I can't even really contact the original artist to ask them if it's appropriate, so I'm going to put it at $0 on my Ko-Fi. Just stitch it if you want to. I'm glad I'm stitching this first, because as I've been going, I'm like, ooh, yeah, that's not where that stitch was supposed to go. And there's some other changes that I've made as I've gone. So I want to make sure that the outline and the features and stuff are really working before I just release a pattern willy-nilly. So this is where I'm at with Gutetama. I'm calling this Angel Gutetama. He's kind of just floating in space, being cute and lazy and also depressed. And there'll be wings around this, as you probably saw in my design. I'm really loving working with this fabric. It is Digi Stitch Unicorn Dreams 36 count linen. It is a printed linen, so it is white on back. And I've really found that if you like look into the side, you can't see any of the white. And I think this is going to look stunning. So here's a close-up of it. I have the outlining done. I have to fill in. All of this will be full coverage, but they're only 3 colors. So this one will be the yellow color. This one will be this kind of like tannish yellow. And then in the eggs will be a brighter white. And then we'll also have wings on the side. He's just cute. There will be some back stitching on top, but I think his face is already kind of making the right expression, which means I probably did the stitches all right. And I'm really liking working on linen, which is wild to me. Wild. I also wanted to call out a finish that I have. I'm going to DNF this, which means did not finish. I'm going to finish it as a fully finished object. And you know what? I think I'm going to do a bookmark. Or I could use this as a panel in a bag, or even like there's the opportunity to fold it up like a needle book. This is Ribbon Candy by Carolyn Manning. It is a beautiful design, and I have this whole middle part together. Sometimes a stitch gains bad vibes as you're working on it, to no fault of its own, and this one is that for me. So we'll just be finishing it because it's not giving me, like, it's supposed to be Christmas related, but not on the nose Christmas. And I love that about it, but right now it's making me sad. So let's just get this finished and out of my life. Might even give it to somebody as a gift. It could also be a sunglasses, or like a glasses cover, and this would be the front. I don't know. Either way, it is done, and I'm going to make it a fully finished object eventually. I have 3 more whips or works in progress to share with you. The first one is Moonjoy. I am officially 50% through this. Yay! And now I have a lot of gray to do down here. But that's okay. We will get there eventually. Sorry I don't have boards today. They're over there and I just forgot because my hair was getting too big, and so I got distracted, but hopefully you've been able to see everything okay. This is not actually a see-through fabric. But Moonjoy is on its way. This is another pattern that I designed, inspired by another person's art, and it's on my Ko-Fi. If you wish to download it, you may download it for free. It's really beautiful. I've seen so many riffs off of this colorful picture of the moon. I can't wait for it to be finished and up on my wall. 50% done. I'm hoping to finish this in the next couple of months so that I can submit it to my state fair, because I think it would be really fun to submit my own self-drafted pattern. So I have a second whip for you. This is Nature's Journey. It's by Sprouting Lupine, and it was in the Just Cross Stitch magazine issues for last year. It was in 4 different issues. And I'm doing it season by season, starting with the winter season. So as this year's big project. Here's what it looked like last time you saw it. And I have just a little bit left in the spring, and I just couldn't get to it by the end of the month. But here's what it looks like now. So the winter section is beautiful, lovely, and then here's where I am with spring. Pretty much only flower fill-in at this point. There might be a little bit more, like something in the butterfly body and the eggs here. But pretty much everything is done, and I've been kind of like working up into this corner. Here is what my back looks like. I've tried to keep my back super clean because this fabric is lighter, and also there have been times that I've had to rip out entire motifs, so I didn't want to have to mess with that too much. Super happy with how the back is looking for that. I will have that spring part done by the 20th or whatever day the solstice is this month, and then I will start on summer by the time you see it next. It's a really good stitch. It's about 5,000-ish stitches per season, so it's pretty manageable, and I just love the look of it. I love having all of those motifs that are cohesive and close together, so there's not a ton of counting. It's just easier not to mess up the whole thing. My last whip is Autumn Towne from Autumn Lane Stitchery. That always gets me messed up in my head because it's autumn and autumn. And this is on self-dyed apple green 20 count Aida, and is my own floss conversion, which is still in progress. So far, I have only used the called for DMC. This one has a little drama this month. I actually had to do some surgery. This is what it looked like last time. And then I'm going to show you what mistake that I made. These lines right here are actually where I duplicated 2 rows and 2 columns. When I imported it into Markup RXP, it just calculated it wrong and didn't calculate the overlap. So I was actually duplicating 2 rows and 2 columns of stitches in the middle of it. So basically my first stitch in this was wrong. So I had to rip out everything below this line down here and everything to the side of this line here. So it's gone backwards in progress, but we're not looking at it that way. We're looking at it as I transformed it from something that made me sad when I looked at it to something that I could finally feel like neutral about and not think, oh my gosh, I have to rip all that out. Because ripping it out, I ripped out like 2,500 stitches. It took me 8.5 hours. At that point, I was like, do I just dye new fabric? But like at that point, I would be stitching the same amount on this. So figured I'd salvage it because I really like the color that I got. This is what it looks like now. So I've been working on getting the area that I had in before back in, and I'm going to add more details to the houses as I go, so it doesn't feel like exactly the same stitch again. We're not stitching the same path again because that's filled with sadness. We are embracing the change of the seasons. See what I did there? And I'm going to like finish off each house as I go. This is what the back of this is looking like. I'm trying to keep it, again, really clean and tying off colors within their own color. Progress! I'm going to keep this last part short because I spent an entire day in the office today and I'm ready to be done talking. But I'm just going to do a quick life update, talk about Pride as well, talk about some plans, and then share a book that I really enjoyed reading in the last month. First of all, life update. My health is doing quite a bit better. Still, like, as a person with chronic illness, your health can be all over the place, and a lot of times you don't know why, which is particularly frustrating. I have a pretty good idea what's going on now, but still need some more tests to kind of verify that that's what's going on. But basically, I don't think that, like, I'm going to find a cure for the stomach issues that I'm going on because everything so far has been normal. But it is also Migraine Awareness Month. And it is very, very common for neurodivergent people to experience migraine. They don't know why yet, but it is more common in people with neurodivergency than in the general population. And I wanted to share, like, especially since I understand my audience a little bit. And I know that if you're watching me, you either have a pretty good appreciation of people who are neurodivergent or are probably neurodivergent yourself. And so I just wanted to call this out. It's Migraine and Headache Awareness Month. A lot of people experience migraine and headaches regularly, or at least have the specter of them hanging over their head. And I just want to know that you're not alone. There are so many people going through this, and it is frustrating that there's not enough research on it. It is frustrating that it feels like it's kind of dismissed as a woman's disease, even though men do get them too. But just know, just keep trying different things. Just know that you're not alone. And, you know, especially with all these wild pressure changes in the spring and the fall, it can be a really rough time. So be kind to those people with migraine around you. Offer them beverages, but like not just water. Like don't tell them to get a drink of water because we've all heard that in our entire lives. Like be like, would you want a fruit juice right now? Do you want some sparkling watermelon juice from Trader Joe's? Because that stuff is delicious. Give your migraine friends snacks. That's what you can do to celebrate them this month. Like I said before, Leia's doing fine. We've been doing a ton of yard work. We're really trying to make the outside of our house look how we think it should look. Not appealing to other people's standards, but, you know, just like making it a better place to exist in. I filled my garden bed with almost 2 tons of organic gardening dirt, and we use the rest of it to kind of fill in the yard. And we have one more project we're going to do with it, burying our sump pump line. I planted some vegetables, and hopefully we'll have some tomatoes, cucumbers, peppers, and peas. Those are like the only real ones that I always feel like I can get more of from my CSA, and I'm hoping to have some veggies to share this year. Just for the fun of it, because I think that is so nice and so anti-consumerist to grow your own vegetables and share them with your friends and family. I just love that idea, even though I am not saving any money by having a vegetable garden, but it lets you get your fingers into the soil and you feel human. And I really love that. So I'm doing that this year. I'm particularly excited about this cucumber, which is a Mexican sour cucumber. I want to try it so bad. I'm hoping I just want to grow one. Like, I just want to grow one so I could try. If you have something bad to say about these Mexican sour cucumbers, just don't tell me because I'm excited right now and I'm going to live in this excitement for like 12 weeks. So there's a lot of happiness to be had there. I don't want to know if they're bad. We've also been doing stuff inside. I learned how to install a light fixture the other day, which took us way too long because we have an old house and none of the colors of the wires are right. And we had to do one trip to the hardware store, but only one trip to the hardware store. And it was something that I knew that we would likely need. So that's a victory. And we did it. So even though it was frustrating, it is awesome to learn new skills. And I'm just reminding myself that not being good at something is not the same as ruining something or being bad at something. You're just not good yet. You just don't know yet. You don't know what you don't know. And as you learn what you don't know, then you can finally know what you need to know. So sending encouragement out there to anybody who's like, oh my gosh, I have to do this house thing and I think I can do it, but I really need to do it and I need to figure this out and it's going to be hard. I'm with you. We have a ceiling fan to install too, so who knows? The electrician is always one phone call away. So, like, if we can't do it, that's fine. And of course, I'm still very, very, very into baseball. They had the best record in all of Major League Baseball in the month of May. We got to see them in person play in the Twin Cities, and it was a great day, even though we lost. But we got to see home runs from both sides, which is always lovely. It's always good when we can get a crowd cheering, and with Brewers Twins games, it's usually about half Brewers fans, so it's a very lively atmosphere and fun. If you ever get a chance to check out the Twins Stadium, Target Field, it is fantastic. One of the best stadiums in baseball, and the food is unmatched, as well as the craft beer selection. So highly recommend if you ever come to the Twin Cities, going to see a Twins game. It'll probably cost you like $15 to get in, depending on who they're playing, because they're not doing that well this year, and they're not expected to. But I still love them anyways. They're my backup team. Pride. I'm so happy it's Pride Month. I mentioned this at the beginning, of course. I identify as a queer woman, so this is also obviously my month and you have to be nice to me. Just kidding, that's a joke. But, it is, I'm like telling my husband, like, hey, you can't be mad at me this month. It's my time of year. Like I hope everyone out there is enjoying a safe and happy Pride. Remember, if you are an ally, it is your responsibility to speak up for people when they aren't able to speak up for themselves. Speak up, say, hey, that's not cool. If somebody says something wrong, make your queer friends, family, neighbors, community members feel safer than they are, because a lot of people don't feel safe right now. This is also really good time to celebrate what being queer is, and especially for people who are older, who have known themselves for a little bit longer, who have realized themselves for a little bit longer. It's time to be vocal about your support for the community and for younger people who are still trying to figure themselves out and might even feel like something is wrong with them. Because a lot of people have been there. A lot of people have felt that, and you have the empathy to help those people make it through this tough time, make it through the rough existence of not fitting in the binaries anymore. Your vocal support for their rights makes them feel safe around you. And sometimes all someone needs, all a queer person who's still finding themselves needs, is an adult to feel safe around. Even if they're an adult, they want to feel seen and heard and like they can be themselves, like being themselves is not a crime. Sending so much love to all the queer people out there that are celebrating, love to our allies, and especially love to our trans and non-binary community members, friends, family. They are facing a lot of legislation right now that is honestly terrifying. Criminalizing them going into bathrooms, criminalizing them having a license. It is not okay right now in America. And in other parts of the world too, not great things are going on too. This is part of kind of the rise of fascism, is that anything other is not tolerated. So if you're stitching something for Pride Month, please let me know in the description what you're stitching. It can also be something that you're already working on, or like a descent stitch or something like that. But I want to know what you're working on. What are you using to kind of think about this moment that we're in and celebrate the diversity that you see around you? I am going to be working on my Stitch for Pride 2024, and I probably will throw in a small or something. I don't know what yet, though. Nothing has called to me this month. Other plans include starting Cherry Magpie. I still have to do some thread testing on my fabric because I want to make sure it's going to appear. But I've seen a variety of pinks be used, and I think that will be okay. I'm going to start Strawberry Moon, and I just dyed fabric for it, and I think it'll be okay. I don't know, I'm a little nervous. This is the fabric that I dyed for that. I think it's going to work, but it's a small, so I can start it. I can always dye different fabric for it. And then I also really want to start this. It's Mushroom Family from Gara. Gara is such a cool designer, and I know that the designer, she has a book out, and so I want to track down that book to get more of her designs, because they're really hard to find online. And there's a lot of Japanese influence and things like that, things that I'm really into right now. I have actually 2 books that I read in the last month that I'd like to recommend to you. They're both a little bit different flavors. The first one is Copper Script by KJ Charles. KJ Charles is an excellent queer writer. She writes a lot of queer stories, usually gay men, and they're always, at least all the ones that I've read so far, have been set in the past where being gay is usually an issue, but she doesn't make it the main issue. It's never the main issue. There's other stuff going on. Copper Script is a really cool one because it has to do with reading handwriting, like understanding somebody's personality through their handwriting. It's just a little woo-woo and very gay and lovely. If you aren't sure if you would like gay romance, check them out because you don't have to be gay to enjoy queer romance. It's just a really cool book. I rated it 4.25 stars. Other KJ Charles books are also awesome. If you pick one out that sounds good to you, you're going to have a good time. The other one that I got to read this month that I really wanted to share was The Book of Doors by Gareth Brown. For some reason, I felt like I had already read a companion book to this. There's no companion book. But I kept feeling familiar, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. You know, maybe it's just deja vu and my brain's trying to rewrite something that didn't happen. I rated this 4.75 stars, and it was just a very, very fascinating book. The mechanics of it. It's fantasy. It's written kind of in New York City in kind of modern times, but then there's other elements to it, and there's magical books. The magical books, always a winner with me. It doesn't really matter what the books do. I want to read about magical books. Goes so deep. It's only 13 hours long, but it felt kind of like a multi-series book. And it was just fantastic. I highly recommend checking it out. There's very little romance in this book. I think there might be some kissing, but it's really about this like dark literature, magic, and you know, defeating the bad guy, of course. So definitely check it out if romance isn't your thing. If romance is your thing, check out Copper Script by KJ Charles. And I will be continuing to read. I think I read 12 books this last month. That's about normal for me. I just love listening to books while I'm cross-stitching and winding down for bed at night. So that's about all I have for you today. I hope everyone has a really awesome start to the summer. If you're like me and are on SSRIs, you probably are staying inside a lot, but that's okay. I've just been enjoying like eating fresh fruit with the windows open and listening to the birds. That's, to me, is like one of the sweetest things in life. So I encourage you to do that, maybe with a cup of coffee. Thank you so much for watching. Again, tell me below what you're stitching this month. Are you stitching something for the Strawberry Moon sale? Are you stitching on Dees 20 Stitches Pride? Or are you just stitching something for Pride? Rainbow, give me flowers, give me sassy government things. Like, I'm here for all of it. And I'm posting on Instagram regularly in my stories, and I hope to get some of my fully finished objects up in my profile so that I have a little bit more of a portfolio for people to see, because it's fun. Thank you so much for watching. I will catch you again next time, hopefully not that long. But I'll see you when I see you.